My brother, it's always a pleasure to see you come back here. This is your family, and I see you and I respect you from all over the world. Thank you for choosing as I choose you too. I'm your brother, Zack Mwekassa. Thank you so much for being here. It's such a great pleasure when, we walk you down the street and you see people, oh my God, it's so nice to see you. Wow, it's beautiful. I mean, yeah, I've heard that all the time before. It's not the first time. It's really depend on I'm also a professional fighter. This is me. That's me. I knock people out bad. I know some of you come here and say, oh, content creator. I'm not one of those content creators. The content creators are in Kenya. They are in Burundi, not Burundi, maybe South Africans. I'm not one of those people. I like and respect the work they do. I just like talking a lot. I talk a lot. So sometimes I just want to I come online and start talking. So this for me is not a content creation looking for money at all. With all due respect to the people and the great opportunities that YouTube is giving a lot of people. Anyway, once you become a content creator, the problem is you start saying things that are not necessarily truth because you want to please people, right? Because you want people to come back. That's what content creation. The bet's on you coming. They need you so they can make money. And that defeats the purpose because then you can't say things the way they are. Anyway, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Today we're going to talk about something very, very interesting. We are in South Africa where it's shocking. It's very shocking. Then we're going to the next country. Fellas, a white South African farm worker accused of unaliving two black women says he was forced to feed their body to pigs, according to his lawyers. Yes, you heard me right. A South African farm worker has told the court that he was forced to feed two bodies of black people to pigs after they unalived the black people. Now, this man is going to face court. His name is Adrian the Vet. Okay, Adrian the Vet is a worker at a farm, and he said no, he didn't feed those people to pigs because he was forced by his boss. Now, Adrian the Vet is 20 years old. He's one of the three men facing murder charges after Maria Mahato, who is 45 years old, and Lucian Lovu, who was 34 years old, were unalived while looking for food on a farm near Polokwane in South Africa, northern Limpopo province. So basically, these black people were a couple. So they were going to a farm looking for food. What kind of food? Well, these farms apparently have leftovers, and sometimes big companies, milk companies come and drop yogurt and some small piece of cheese and whatever to these farms for destruction. Now, unfortunately for them, they crossed the line for the killer by getting into their premises. I mean, for context, a lot of white South Africans are farmers. Well, you're asking how come there are white people in South Africa? Yes, there are white people in South Africa. How did they get there? Long time ago, hundreds of years ago, they left Europe looking for better pasture, where in Africa, they chose Southern Africa. In South Africa, why? Perhaps because the weather is very similar to Europe, Mediterranean weather. You get winter, summer, springs, and autumn. I know America say it differently. Anyway, that's how it is. Now, the rest of Africa is not as cold or, varied. It's not as cold and diverse as South Africa. Most Africa, especially, tropical. If you're talking about Uganda, you're talking about the DRC, you're talking about Ghana, you're looking at two weather. It's the rainy season and the hot season. And it doesn't play. And the mosquitoes are there. Malaria. Don't go there play. You're probably gonna die. Don't do that. Anyway, go with it's mafuta. Mafuta is oil you can use to protect yourself against malaria. It's nice countries. Don't listen to me. Anyway, back to South Africa. So a lot of white people came to South Africa looking for better pastures. A lot of them became farmers, for some reason, whether it's hereditary or something they learned from their forefather. Anyway, they were farmers. Now, that mentality of being a farmer has continued up until today. So today, you still find a lot of farmers in South Africa. The majority of farmers are white, okay? And most of them are Afrikaners. Afrikaners are a group of white people that descended from French and Dutch people in general. Some of them have, ancestry toward Germans as well. But anyway, I think you understand the context. Now, Afrikaners and black people of South African naturally, according to them, never really gotten along. Why? Because when the white people came to South Africa, they wanted to conquer. They didn't want to share with the little pygmies. No. South Africa don't have pygmies. Anyway, they didn't want to share with Africans, which they found the savages. That's what Europeans found black people back in time. So they wanted to take over. They took over. Matter of fact, they even created a law, the Native Lands Act, in 1913, where black people were not allowed to have any more land officially. The land was for white people only. Okay? So if you black people, you want to be in the land, you better be working for the white man. Okay, you must subdue yourself. And they created another system in 1948, 1949, the apartheid, which separated black people from white. In other words, white people kept the nice lands, the nice situation, the nice suburb, whilst the black people went there, by the Mabuso. There they call it Kasi. Kasi is like, the hood. So black people of South Africa stayed in one specific areas, while white people stayed in different areas. Matter of fact, black people of South Africa could not move from one place to the other enter without showing a passport. Yes, they had to show a passport to be allowed to move, or else you're going to be put in jail. In their own country, I mean, a country of their ancestors. Anyway, life can be cruel sometimes. So white people profited from this time. It was really, really beautiful for them. You know, they were on top of the chain, followed by Indians, then coloreds, then black people. Again, colored people in South Africa are not equal to black people like in America. They're different. Colored people are usually lighter in skin, even though you may find some dark skin looking colored people. And the colored people in most cases speak Afrikaans also. And they have ancestry going all the way to Asia. Also, some of them are Africans, some of them Asia. So it's a mixer. Black people are really black like Milan. So that's South Africa for you. Anyway, now, separation was clear. Black people and white people in South Africa were never equal. Now, in 1994, there was independence in the freedom when Nelson Mandela, this great man right here, after 27 years in prison, okay, after being charged of terrorism, apparently he had put a bomb in a railroad or something very similar. Anyway, he was trying to find freedom for his people. They threw him in jail for 27 years. When he came out of jail, he ran for presidency. After running for presidency, he won the election. Why? Because the majority of people, voters, were black people. For the very first time, they were allowed to do so under the umbrella of the ANC. This is the ANC, the African National Congress. So Mandela was the man at the ANC. He became president because of the majority of the people. That is when apartheid ended. To go to schools with white people, to hospitals with white people, sit in restaurants and eat next to white people, and try to date white people. No, that's still very difficult for black South Africans to date white people. Very difficult. You find it once every 250,000 couple. Anyway, get back on track. Now, what we're saying is time had passed, but unfortunately, the situation remained very similar. In terms of land, white people still own more land in South Africa than black people. Now, white people have apparently more than 70% of arable land, of good land, whilst black people don't. Now, do black people want land? They want land. Yes, they should want land. But do they really want land so they can be farmers? Question mark. Are they black farmers? Yes, they are. But the majority of farmers so far are white. They are good producers. They produce potatoes, bananas, tomatoes, and all that stuff. Apples and cereals and the stuff you eat in America. If it's South African apple, it probably came from a white person's, probably of South Africa. Possibly a black person too, but the majority are white and they are Afrikaners. Now, unfortunately, South Africa is called the Rainbow Nation, where, you know, rainbow, you can see what the rainbow looks like. Rainbow, multicolored. But in reality, it's not really a rainbow nation, because you rarely see a black and white couple. Rarely. You'll rarely see that. Usually it's a very old white person with a young... Anyway, let's not get into that. Now, the Rainbow Nation, if you look at the jobs at work, you know, at jobs people get breaks, like lunch break. During lunch break, you see the white people together with white people. You see the colored people together with the colored. You see the Indian people together with the Indian. You see the black people kuluming in the corner with the black people and tobeling and dumelanging among themselves. I mean, yeah, I know Africa. I'm crazy about Africa. I've been to many African countries. Stayed in many. Anyway, so let's continue. So what I'm basically saying is, after apartheid, not a lot of things have changed. You know, they talk about unity. The unity is there, but when you get deep, it's very difficult. Many white people perceive black people as criminals. Many. Why? Because if you look at the record when it comes to many crimes, violent crimes, car haste, and all that stuff like that, it's usually my people, black people that do that. Are there white people? Yes, definitely. But there's a general from KwaZulu-Natal. His name Mwekassa. So the general said, so they believe the majority of criminals are black. And I don't know how you can explain this, but it's a sad reality.
We have a problem with the black man in South Africa. We have a serious problem. What we see here, we put the colors, the races of perpetrators that we've arrested. All the green, as you can see, almost everything is green here, which means almost everything is black that is committing crime. Out of total of 60,000 cases, criminals that were arrested between the age of 16 and 25 years old, 16 and 25 years old, we arrested 60,000 criminals in this past financial year, in this period of 5 years, I beg your pardon, not in financial year, this 5-year period that you are counting.
And after apartheid, criminality went very, very high. How is that? That is a subject we're going to dive into in the next time. But a lot of white South Africans, Afrikaners especially, still believe that South Africa was much better in terms of security during apartheid than after apartheid. So during apartheid, the blacks were controlled. Now they're not. So they believe the majority of criminals are black. Is this true? Question mark. Now, their perspective, claiming to see a bunch of black people coming into their property, you know, luring around, for them they were criminals. So they had to shoot them and feed them to the pig. Now, unfortunately, you can't operate like that. I mean, even if you think you're dealing with a criminal, you need to stop them first and have a chat with them, because that is crime. That is, you don't do that. You can't just think because I think people of this color are dangerous, are bad, I'm going to unalive anything that moves that look like. I mean, nobody does that. Who does that? These people were just looking for food. They were just looking for leftovers from cheese company. I think it's Clover. They were just looking for leftover food because clearly they're poor. They're poor. They needed some milk or whatever that is. Now, they seized this opportunity to unalive them. After being unalived, this guy, Adrian the vet, one of the 3 men facing murder charge, he dumped their bodies to the pigs. The vet guy will testify that he was under duress when he was forced to throw the bodies into the pig enclosure, according to both the prosecution and the lawyer. Now, if the court accepts this testimony, all charges against him will be dropped. So there's an older guy, Zachary or something, I think, who's the mastermind. Now, among them, my brother, there is a guy named William Musora, 50 years old, another farm worker. He's a third accused. Mr. Musora also faces a charge of attempted murder for shooting Mrs. Ndlovu's husband, who was with his wife at the farm, as well as possession of an unlicensed firearm, defeating the end of justice. So Mr. Musora, the big problem is he's a Zimbabwean national that crossed to South Africa looking for better life, shot a South African with the authority of the white man. Yeah, I mean, in many cases, a lot of white South Africans, when it comes to small jobs, they will rather hire Zimbabweans than hire black South Africans. Look at the map. This is Zimbabwe, this is South Africa. Now, a lot of Zimbabweans ran away from Zimbabwe because it's poor country going to South Africa. How? Because Zimbabweans used to have their own white people back in time. But with this guy, Robert Mugabe, he kicked out all the white people saying, I want the lands back. Give us our land.
They're being hounded off their land.
Not of their land.
It's not theirs.
Our land.
Even though they bought it with the certificates of approval from the government?
But haven't you heard of the Lancaster House discussions and the agreement with the British government? Because they are British settlers. Originally they have been British settlers. And we agreed at Lancaster House that there would be land
citizens.
Yes, Zimbabwe also was subjected to land seizure like South Africa many years ago. In Zimbabwe, the white people were from Britain. They took land. When Zimbabwe President Robert Mugabe came to power, he took the land back by force. And after doing that, the country went to scramble. They hit them with sanctions. They had no food, no money, nothing functioning. All these white people left Zimbabwe, crossing to South Africa, some going to Zambia. Eventually, Zimbabweans followed those very same white people they had chased to Zimbabwe to South Africa. It's crazy stuff. Well, these whites apparently are friendly enough to hire some of these Zimbabweans. Now, my question is this one. When you are a foreigner in a foreign land and you are given a gun to shoot somebody without clear danger against your body, meaning this guy was trying to kill you, why do you shoot? I'm just asking. The only reason why I would shoot somebody in a foreign country if I had a legal gun, it's because this guy is a direct threat to my existence, or maybe existence of my wife or my child. This guy is about to shoot, he's about to kill. Now, you shoot. Let's say you were right. Why are you using an unlicensed firearm? I mean, even if you, what are the chances you're going to get out the life of this court from a judge who is South African? You as a foreigner, you shot people in their land after you ran away from your country where things are not working. Do you understand? There's a lot of animosity among black South Africans and Zimbabweans because they believe Zimbabweans bring crime to their country. They believe Zimbabweans are very much involved in cash heist and all these home robberies and crazy stuff like stabbing people in the street for that's this. We don't know. They accuse Zimbabweans of taking most of the jobs, which are low-grade jobs, low-paying jobs. Why? Because Zimbabweans can accept less money than South Africans. South Africans, because they are black South Africans, they're working for white men in most cases. They expect a level of respect and some level of financial respect. So you need to pay them accordingly. Now, the Zimbabwean will say, okay, I'm a foreigner in this land. I'm just trying to get by. So just pay me off the money you were paying the black South Africans. And the black South Africans are not happy about that. Now, is this rhetoric true? Question mark. But in most cases, it looks like what they say the Zimbabweans are doing. And in the meantime, Zimbabweans go to South African hospitals and they say they overuse the hospital facility, which are sometimes provided for free, and they accuse Zimbabweans of kicking out South Africans that are found in Zimbabwe in the same condition, looking to access hospital facilities that are for free. So Zimbabwe doesn't accept black South Africa in Zimbabwe in their hospital facilities, but they want to access South African office. You get what I'm saying? So there's a lot of problems. In the meantime, I think this is a way for you to understand a little bit what's happening on that side. That's what it is, my brother. We need to understand the continent. It's not just about politics. You need to know what's happening with your brother's house. That's how you understand. We have more similarities than differences. I know. We speak different languages. We sometimes see life differently, but trust me, we have much more similarities. You see, this in South Africa, it's called amagwinya. In Ghana, it's called bofrot. In Nigeria, it's called puff puff. In Tanzania and Kenya, it's called mandazi. I believe in Congo as well as mandazi. In Rwanda, it's also called amandazi. Anyway, there's a lot of similarities. You see this? It's called lobola in South Africa. You see this? It's called dot in Cote d'Ivoire. You see this? It's called bride's price in Uganda. There's a lot more similarities and differences. Let me know how you feel about this, fellas. Always a great pleasure. YouTube says a lot of you guys watch videos, but you're not subscribed. Why not subscribe? Please do subscribe so we can see each other every day and we can push the channel further. Appreciation for all the people that see us on private, in our private group. We see you, we thank you, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support. God bless.